Huh? Ah!
Fantastic Four First Steps is a really great movie, but you wouldn't know that lately because of the most recent headlines where pretty much there's word going out saying that the film is already considered a failure and that pretty much during its first week it was doing really good. But I mean like superb, you know? It's like, okay, it's automatically hands down going to be the best MCU film, right? No, apparently. During its second week, it's actually fallen down pretty quick, and I'm guessing. I mean, the numbers they change, like projections, like as to how many people are actually going to see it. It's dropped somewhere between like 66% or 80%. Obviously, numbers don't lie. That's pretty bad. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. Only because, well, I'm just gonna say this right now. I was very hesitated as to making this video. Not because I don't want to give off my opinions or anything about the movie, but it's mostly because I really don't want to come off as like a crazy MCU fanboy and stuff like that. You know, because I'm already seeing that crap online, and it honestly makes me upset and aggravated because it's like, come on, why are we still doing this? I mean, it's been like that for the last couple of years where I get that when it comes to the MCU, the quality hasn't really been the same, and they all love the point at Endgame being like, oh, pretty much after that, that's when things starts to fall apart. But like you still have some good stuff here and there, but it's almost like everyone is so oblivious to the actual good projects because yes, I'm willing to admit it, there's definitely been a good portion of bad projects and weird decisions that definitely hurt the brand for sure, to the point where people are questioning if the MCU, you know, the franchise as a whole, if it's really going to recover in a way, which to me it sounds a little bit silly because look, franchises, they come and go, okay, you know, I understand that, you know, you're not going to be a winner every time, you know, I can't imagine that pressure of trying to make something good every time. And look, nobody ever sets out to make a bad movie, all right? And to me it sucks because it generally seems like that they are trying here, and it's like for the past couple of movies we've been getting have been actually pretty good. Okay, fine. I understand. All right, Brave New World. I know that's a whole other take. Okay, so as much as this hurts me to say, let's leave that one out. All right, let's talk a little bit about Thunderbolts and let's talk a little bit about Fantastic Four. All right, because Thunderbolts for sure. I remember that movie was definitely one where it was very unexpected, where a lot of people didn't expect it to be as good as it was. And in all fairness, it was technically meant to be Avengers 5. That's what it was. It was secretly an Avengers movie, but obviously it succeeded in every other department you could think of except financially. It didn't even make back its money. It flopped financially, you know. So it's like, okay, what happened? You know. And a lot of people like to point out how, you know, people are just not interested anymore, and it's like, you know, pardon my language, but that's bullshit. Because if Superman can make a whole ton of money, they succeeded far off the roof. They've done so well. I mean, they already said it that they're like surpassing the MCU really fast, and it's only been just one movie for the DCU. You know, a Superman, and of course I've seen both films. I've seen Superman and Fantastic Four, and I will say Superman for sure is also a really great movie. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that people try to use the excuse that nobody wants to see superhero movies anymore, which that's obviously not true because, you know, with how successful Superman was, it's pretty obvious that there's still an interest. So I honestly don't really understand what that's going on. And not to get personal or anything like that, I don't want to be that guy, but this is my channel, okay? I'm going to say it, you know, because I'm all about honesty and truth. But I've definitely seen a lot of people be like, they're mediocre movies for mediocre people, or these are stupid movies for stupid people. I've definitely seen that fair share of comments where it's like, okay, you're not critiquing at this point. You're just being a downright bully. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it because we don't need to be doing that. Listen, I would assume that you wouldn't like it if we were to talk crap about a favorite franchise you like. So it's like, to me, I just don't think that that's fair. I have there's so many things like wrong with that narrative, and I've seen that a lot too, where it's like, of course. I'm 99% convinced at this point that people just want to see the MCU die, because it's like I don't get that we're getting stuff that is actually generally good. So it's like, what else is there? And the other thing I need to talk about too, let's not talk about the audience. Let's talk about the critics for a second. Because the fact that people are already considering Fantastic Four a bomb, the movie hasn't even been out for a month yet. It's still like, that drives me off the walls. It generally frustrates me as a moviegoer. I'm a big movie guy, okay? Listen, one of my dreams is to hopefully maybe be an actual like legit movie reviewer one day. I hope to get up there, and that's of course if my art career doesn't succeed, at least I have something else to look forward to, which sounds horrible, but you never know. Sometimes life just likes to hit you in the balls, like how people are hitting Fantastic Four in the balls because I haven't even critiqued the movie. I haven't even talked about why it's good and stuff. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. But I just gotta say, like, no, it's like no one's giving these movies time to breathe. It's like, I understand it has tough competition. I will agree. Superman is still doing really well, made a lot of money, and then apparently a lot of people are seeing Naked Gun. Apparently, so it's like, okay, so I didn't think that movie was gonna make a lot of money. I mean, okay. I mean, I was willing to see. I'm kind of a my comedy is a bit low tier, so of course, sure, I'll be willing to see it whenever there's a chance, right? And then of course, there's also the Bad Guys too, which I mean, I love animation, but like, I'm not like, how do I say? It's not as close as I used to. I'm not as close with animation like I used to be, only because a lot of the stuff that's been out for the past couple years is just utter garbage. Don't get me wrong, X-Men '97, it's good too. Don't get me wrong. All right. So I'm not just ousting animation in general. What I'm trying to say again is that on both sides of the argument, it just seems like no one's really wanting to give these movies a chance anymore, which I think is a shame because why would you want to just let a long running franchise die like that just because the past couple of ones weren't really so good? And of course, they try to offer up some promise. They're going to slow down on the project here and there. They're going to want to try and understand more as to what they did wrong. They want to make sure that they put quality over quantity because obviously before it was the opposite. So it's like, what's going on here? And again, you can't use the excuse that, oh, superhero fatigue. No, I'm sorry, I hate that. The superhero fatigue thing, that's bullshit. I don't believe in that because superheroes have been around for such a long time. People still read the comics. There has been movies from generations and all that. Come on now, like, I hate that it's gotten to that point. And then again, there's also the other side of the argument where it's like, oh, this movie's not for intelligent people and all. And I'm like, what does that even mean though? I don't understand that. Are we now getting to that point that we're just kind of picking on each other for just liking something? Like, I'm afraid to tell people that I like Fantastic Four First Steps just because of all this shit going on. And it doesn't help that you got these stupid anti SJW woke channel. Like, I'm sorry, those channels need to just disappear. I don't understand. What are they like? What are they even bringing to the table? What do they have to say that I can use as useful information and legit criticism? Nothing. I haven't. No, it's just the same old crap where it's like, oh, Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic, he did terrible. Oh, you got a Spanish guy playing as a white character. And I'm like, are we really, is that really what you people are worried about? What I'm worried about, I want to make sure when I go to a movie, I'm entertained, I understand the story, I have fun. And look, the movie itself is not even a jumbled up mess. It pretty much establishes itself really quickly and it does it very fluent. You know what I mean. I think it does it pretty well for the most part, explaining who the characters are. It jumps to the point really quick. It doesn't take its time. It gives you bits and pieces of it. It explains to you a little bit of the backstory, and then it gives you a nice good idea as to who the Fantastic Four are, and of course what to expect. Of course, we're given the story, Silver Surfer, where, oh, that's another funny thing too. You still get people complaining that there's a female Silver Surfer. I'm not saying to go read the comics because I understand not everyone can have the time to do that. Okay, fine. This movie is made to where you don't need to do any research to know anything. But obviously, there are two Silver Surfers. You got the one in this movie is Shalabal, obviously. So look, we're gonna see the male version eventually. You people just gotta calm down. Like for real, I'm just astonished where it's like people are complaining that there's a female Silver Surfer. It's not like they're fitting in any kind of agenda or anything like that. It is nothing like that at all. She's the herald of Galactus. She comes in, tells him that their world's gonna be doomed, and he's coming. Oh, and then as a big shocker, okay, fine, spoil. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I don't know, but spoiler warning, I guess. Obviously, Galactus, sure, he wants to devour the planet, but there's something else he wants. He wants the baby, Franklin Richards. He wants the child because he has some sort of immense power, and we do get to witness that in the film. But I don't want to spoil it or talk about what happens in a sense. I'm just kind of giving a little bit of an open-ended kind of review of the film, where it's really not as bad as people say it is. I don't know if people just want some brownie points. I don't know if they want to just be like the big shots and be like, look, this movie is not as good as you think. And then they give off the most craziest things. Don't even get me started on that one guy. I don't even bother to know what his name is. I don't know. It's like I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but basically it's like it's this kid. I'm assuming it's a kid. I think he's like 16 or so. And as a 24-year-old, I can't really say any bad things about the person because he's a minor, but like it's the dude with the long hair. He's known as the racist guy on YouTube because he was complaining about like Batman, like wow, I even forgot what it was called. You get the idea. I think some of you guys know who I'm talking about. Oh no, he went on a whole tangent too. I mean, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna say it. The stuff he said was pretty racist for sure. So I'm like, wow. It bugs me so much though that it has gotten to that point. And again, I want to talk a little bit about those big channels and stuff. I mean, you get people like Matt Walsh. I hate Matt Walsh. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, he's out here being like that the MCU should just die already, and I'm like, wow. I'm convinced you people just don't want the MCU to be around anymore. And you know what? Fine. Maybe these movies do deserve to fail because apparently we don't deserve nice things. Apparently. I can't understand why people has to jump so far to conclusion and be so harsh putting out this stuff without even watching the movie. And then on top of that, we're already trying to project some numbers here and there, trying to debate whether it's a success or not. And it's like, why can't people just see it before they say anything? Like, remember, I mean, come on, that's fair, right? I think at this point now, I'm just ranting on like a fanboy because I didn't want this video to be past 10 minutes, but it's already is. So, all right, like I say, if you don't like the movie, that's perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with that. I just don't like all this weird extra stuff that people like to kind of add. It's like when you order pizza, and you put in, you ask them for some toppings, and then they just kind of go overboard, and then they oops, sorry about that. Anyway, I think everyone understands what I'm trying to say, right? So okay, so let's end this on a better note because obviously I'm not even sure if what I say even makes sense. I don't know if I'm just being too personal or speaking facts. I mean, I want you guys to be at least be honest with me, but please watch the video though before you say anything. That's all I have to say. Uh, you know listen, the movie at least did better than the previous Fantastic Four movie, so we'll take that for what it's worth. We know these characters will be returning, so I don't know. I guess it's just one of those weird situations where it's like whether it's a success or not. People are people are still willing to take a look at these characters. That's all I can really say for sure. That's at least a positive. So as for the people that kind of come out saying the weird stuff that I said before, where it's like, oh, these are just stupid movie for like unintelligent people. Then you got like these critics that they think that they're big shots and that they know what they're talking about. When of course, it's okay to have an opinion, but like, don't attack people. Why is that such a thing to? Why is that such a hard concept to put in your brain. Like, I don't know. I don't even get it. And like I said, you get these weird, like, anti SJW channels and all that, which again, they don't really offer anything. They just complain about the same bullshit like everyone else does. It's almost like they got their own little personal agendas here and there, and it's like, how hard is it just to have like a nice fun movie to enjoy? I don't really get that though. I get that movies should definitely be critical for sure. I understand that, there has to be at least some sort of standard to it. And I really hate those critics that talk about how these are the worst movies of our times now, when it's like there is genuine garbage out there. Did you know that Amazon Prime put out a World of the Worlds movie? And it's generally the biggest piece of dog shit you will ever see. I mean, come on. I'm just saying, though. You mean to tell me that movies like that are not an insult to cinema? Because they are. Everyone wants to point at Marvel movies or maybe even DC movies to an extent. Well, not exactly, but you get the idea, right? It's almost like people love to kind of point fingers at these other movies because they have a bit of a rough patch. Okay, fine, but it's almost like you're beating down like someone who's trying to get up. That's how I try to sort of see it a little bit when it comes to like the making of this stuff. And I get it. Okay, people always make this type of stuff for money. All right, I understand. Okay, but how are you gonna make a big project like that and not expect you to get paid? Let's all be honest here. We're being honest here. So, come on. So yeah, I guess that's about it. All right, this video did turn out a little bit different than how I thought. So I don't know if I should make another video where it's at least slightly more better and not me being super frustrated talking about Fantastic Four, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I'm not even gonna ask if you liked the video or not because I think it definitely got personal a little bit at certain points, but I don't know. Just what do you think? So that's about it, I guess. All right, see ya.